Well, if you plan on filming your next shit talk video getting in a fight, well, make sure you know how to fight, especially when you're getting judo tossed into the parking lot and now taking a grounding and pounding to hamburger helper oblivion. My God, this just doesn't stop. It is a buffet of ground and pound punches, and she's just like, let go of my hair, let go of my... What the hell do you think this is? A freaking match where you can just give up? You're the one who started it. You're the one who came and filmed this because you thought it would get you more likes and more views on Instagram. As this goes viral for all the wrong reasons, the ref steps in and does absolutely nothing.
Whip my ass!
Darlene says, whip my ass, as she continues to whip her opponent's ass. My God, come to somebody's place of residence. Well, guess what? There's going to be huge statements being delivered here tonight, making sure she never comes back again. And my God, she's going to have to come back with a freaking F-15 if she wants to continue this fight. And I think it is all over. Darlene has sent a clear message. You want to F around, you're bound to drizzound.
Well, hello there, partner. Go on and hang up your hat, grab yourself a whiskey, and pull up in the easy chair. We're coming off the range in 9 to 5s with a whole herd of news stories that we've been steaming over like a cow patty in the Texas heat. As they say, the chickens are finally coming home to roost. And we're here to ruffle some feathers and ensure accountability ain't just a concept, it's reality. It's that time where the day's drama casts its longest shadow. So let's light a candle to the chaos of current events, the whirlwind of politics, and the tangled webs of corruption that we find ourselves entwined by. It's time to ramble our way into the twilight. Welcome to Sunset Rants.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sunset Rants, where we go over the news, rants, and deep dives to get you caught up at sunset. I'm AK, your favorite guy, and does it feel good to be back? My goodness. Yeah, we had about a month off, which much needed month off. My God, we all needed that because we went through hell and high water last year, but the good thing is that, you know, people are starting to watch. People are starting to watch, and we thank every single one of you for doing so. But this week, my God, what a week to come back.
Wild. Honestly, if there's a fucking banger to fucking start the year, hey, let's fucking go. This is it.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, so how you doing, Tay? So you back?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just been fucking slaving at work, dude. Like the month off, you know, I moved. I got to get all this stuff set up. So I just finished moving. I end up moving like every year and a half. So I got a new condo. Beautiful. I love it. Yeah, just doing my thing, trying to stick low key. I could not complain, but glad to get back on the grind and get it. Start the year with you. I love it. It's good to see you.
Let's go. All right. Well, before we get started, make sure you follow us on X at @TheRealRoma_AK and subscribe to our socials at riseofmiddleamerica.com. This is where you can get the up-to-the-minute action from all of our shows, news, culture, true crime, sports now. We even got a sports show that I'm doing right after this. So we have something for all your needs. So like, comment, and subscribe and help us become the most successful brand for Middle America. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started with NPR, shall we?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we were beating this with like a dead horse all week long, but everybody seems to...
NPR is still even like posting like after this week too.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, we got a lot of fake influencers out there trying to become podcasters and think they know what's going on in the world. So that's what we're here for. So anyways.
That's what we do.
So,
Bullshit.
exactly. Minnesota and federal officials are no longer cooperating on ICE shooting investigation. Now, I'm going to stop that right there. What does that mean? What does that mean? No longer cooperating. So federal officials no longer cooperating on ICE shooting investigation.
Dude, fucking Waltz he's like on a death march. He's on a fucking death march. He's just, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, especially with a lot of the things that came out over Christmas break. I mean, it's not looking good for him. So trying to be the one on the high ground. That's not it. That's not the play for him right now. It definitely
he's blaming everything. He's like, to be honest with you, the whole fraud thing that's going on in ICE, it's my fault. I'm white, and I'm sorry, everybody. It's just.
Well, if that's the case,
if there's more time I spend in the sun, the less guilt I would feel and less accountability. But it's all my fault, and I apologize.
Gotcha. All right. Well, then if you're going to do that, then it's definitely 13% my fault.
Yeah, I'll go with
that. Damn you, Ancestry.com. All right, let's go. In two different press conferences on Thursday, the White House and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz disagreed on the details Wednesday fatal shooting in Minneapolis and how to investigate it. Man, Minneapolis has been a hot spot and a hodgepodge for the last 7 years.
Yeah.
My goodness. Walz on Thursday told federal government to leave Minnesota alone and allow state officials to conduct the investigation into the shooting by an Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, agent that left one woman dead and Minneapolis residents on edge. Walz repeatedly expressed concerns about the federal government leading the investigation with Minnesota officials. Now, here's the thing. If this is a Minnesota resident and an official officer of the federal government, it should be both of them doing this investigation.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not saying, listen, we can go watch the videos. That's not what we're here for. We're here to just get to the bottom of what really is, what's really wrong with our country, right? Because we're speaking for middle America here. All right. We're not speaking for the left. We're not speaking for the right. We're speaking for people who don't really watch the news or they go on Facebook or they go on X or they go on different social media platforms and they don't understand. All they see is what other people post, but they're not sure if that's credible or not. You have no idea who's posting this stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So where do you go to get your information?
What we do.
Yeah, exactly. So it says here, quote, "It feels very, very difficult that we get a fair outcome." And I said I say that only because people in positions of power have already passed judgment, from the president to the vice president to Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, Walz said. Well, let's go back to the beginning, right? So how did all of this start? This is all about what? Immigration? A lot of these.
So I guess obviously there's an immigration issue in our country. That's just, everybody knows that. You'd have to be living underneath a rock that's underneath the rock, under the sea. You got to really just not be self-aware of your surroundings for that. So from my understanding, what I've seen is I think we've all seen the video at this point. And I don't like watching stuff. But I guess the back end of the story was, the ICE, they were doing their stuff, as they would. And this woman was just tailing on them, harassing them the entire time. It wasn't just like a 30-second incident for this. It was ongoing. Now, how long? I don't know.
Right.
I couldn't tell you, but there is I know we use it very, very liberally, no pun intended. We say it's like FAFO. But this truly was a FAFO moment, in my opinion. She's putting her nose where it shouldn't have been. And I'm sure she's doing it in her heart, she's doing it for the right reasons. A lot of these people, they do that because they feel that they're doing good for someone else. Mm-hmm. But when you start messing with people who have guns and start driving at them in a crazy way, things are going to happen. And it turns out, what we see in the video, this is just like this any other kind of video that we've seen, like with police officers, and them being in front of a car. But that's just,
What is this? This is Wall said, "Leave Minnesota alone." Trump said, "Okay, I'll send the National Guard as well." Jesus. And Hardy Harmonica was like, "We have investigated ourselves and found no wrongdoing. All actions taken within our policy guide." Yeah, I mean that's what you're going to get with law enforcement. I mean, the thing is that it's not only that they have to put themselves out there in the line of danger, but they have to make split-second decisions during that line of danger that us regular citizens don't have to do.
No, not at all. Like they're like, oh, well, why couldn't you just shoot out this? Why couldn't you just? It's like, no, this isn't like a video game. This isn't Halo when you're fucking around with.
Why couldn't you done a triple axle over the truck? Like, really? Like, of course not. Because those seconds matter. There's no way if you had less than a second to make a decision to stop somebody or to be underneath the truck. When you're underneath the vehicle, that's not the time to say, "Oh, maybe I should have pulled out my weapon." Like,
and it's so easy. It's so easy to be like a keyboard warrior, like a keyboard coach. However you want to word it, whatever the proper terminology is on it. But it's super easy to do that. It's like the hindsight is 2020, but it's easier to say it just watching it after the fact. Where you can have it's like instant, like you're saying. You have to have all that information compiled to make the best executive decision at that moment.
Exactly. Yeah, and Brian's got this highlighted, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. It said, at the core of each press conference was different understanding of the facts, which it is. And you can see this during the press secretaries when she's up in Washington. You can see this on CNN. You can see this on Fox. You can see this on all different platforms, right? Where they bring somebody in with a difference of opinion. And it's almost like we all know where the conversation should go. We all know the middle ground. But they don't want to talk about the middle ground, right? They have to have something spicy. They have to have something that's out of this world ridiculous, which I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but this is what Piers Morgan is really good at.
Well, yeah, but that's kind of what his thing has been going for the past couple of years, is going for that. But I thought we were holding hands.
I thought I looked kind of blurry, so I was trying to make sure.
And so here's the thing, like everyone's going to speak, back to the matter, like so fact of the matter, like in the conversation for this. But what was I going to say? I totally just got sidetracked.
You got a ghost in your house, bro.
Yeah. Sorry. Everyone would get some mice. I didn't realize it would be that long. No, but they're going to make something spicy. Piers Morgan is great at this. They're going to do that. But just because it's spicy doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do. Like, it doesn't mean that's good entertainment. There's a lot of people who intake information. This is just a general term. It's a human thing to do. Like, whatever's going to be the most spicy, like whatever the tea is, the hot tea, they're going to be brought to it. And they're going to think that is the fact of the matter, when all it is just, pulling for the audience. And it's not going to be right. And so I don't really, in my opinion, this is a extremely unfortunate incident, but this isn't anything else that's ever happened every fucking day in a different city. That's just happens. But it has to do with this.
Here's how I feel, because especially when it comes to federal law enforcement, a lot of people are very wary about federal. If I had federal law enforcement standing outside of my house, I'd be worried too, right? Don't get me wrong. I'd be like, why the hell are these guys here? Like, what are they? What information are they trying to get? Like, am I going to be able to leave my house? Am I going to be able to come back to my house? Like, what's going on outside? So I get that part, right? I get that, but it's clear as day as to why they are there.
Yeah.
Right? And another thing I want to talk about is, let's change the scenario here. Okay.
Okay.
Let's talk about, let's say there's something happened on the side of the road and there's cones up, and a law enforcement officer is telling people to stop, to slow down, to move over to this lane, directing traffic.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We've been in that situation before.
Yeah. If a law enforcement officer tells you to stop and you don't stop and you continue into a restricted area, what do you think is going to happen?
You're going to get detained.
You're going to get detained. At minimum, they're going to stop you, right?
Yeah.
They have a right to stop you. Regardless of take your personal feelings out of this, all right? The law is the law. If you hate the law, go to your representative and have the laws changed. That's how this system works. The problem is that people think that their personal feelings override the law of the land. And I'm sorry, but that's not how that works. That doesn't work here. That doesn't work in any other country on this planet. That doesn't work on the moon. That doesn't work in the universe. All right. We've seen what happens when you use your own personal feelings over your own laws and regulations and whatnot. What happens to those countries?
They fall.
Exactly. We have an entire history of this. Right. So now that I got that out the way, if this were any other situation, would this have happened? Right.
No, it wouldn't, because this woman felt some kind of way, like I was mentioning. She thinks she was doing the right thing. She wasn't. She's putting herself where she should not have been. And that the laws don't apply to her because she thinks that she's doing something that's beneficial. It's not. Anything, she's ruined her family's life. Three children and the rest of the people who love her. I'm sure she was a fantastic one, but case in point is she's, what was her name again? Nicole.
Oh, geez. Let me see if it's in here. I don't see it here.
Not so good.
Yeah, but this brings me to my third and final point, which is how many other situations in America throughout history has this happened? Now, maybe in the 60s. Okay, I'll give you that, because the 60s were a very wild time here in this country.
No, yeah. I'll give you that.
Yeah, but like in recent memory, like let's start with Clinton. Has he ever brought out the National Guard or federal agents into different areas? Of course he did. Did Bush do it? Of course he did.
Oh yeah.
Especially Bush with 9/11 and all the other stuff. All right. Obama? I mean, I don't know if Obama has ever had to bring out federal agents.
I think he did. I think he did, but not in like a situation like this. I think he did when what was it? Was it Bush or was it Obama for Katrina?
Oh no, that was Bush in 2005.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Bush hates black people.
Apparently, being able to see federal law enforcement is not a thing. Is that? Huh.
Yeah, I mean, you can, but I mean, it's really difficult. It's very difficult because wherever they are the jurisdiction. It's not even like, because they can only create so much jurisdiction in other areas that are outside of federal property. So they are themselves the jurisdiction.
Okay, so it's almost like a what's it called? Like a highway patrolman. They can go anywhere.
Mm-hmm. They can go anywhere. That doesn't mean they can do anything anywhere, right? Yeah, different states have different rules on that too. I think in the state of Florida, like state troopers are like the top.
Yeah,
they're not exactly. It's not that they can go wherever they want, but if there's an accident somewhere, sheriff has to come out and clean everything up and make sure nothing is touched until the state trooper comes in, and then the state trooper is the one that does all the road stuff, right? So, which makes. Yeah. But like I said, I don't remember a time in which this happened. I mean, maybe back in the 90s. I mean, I know under I don't. Yeah, I know. I don't remember if it was Reagan or if it was Rodney King.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Even during that, when they brought out the National Guard,
I was a
they
baby.
weren't shooting at the National Guard. They weren't trying to run over the National Guard. Even they knew back then not to mess with the National Guard, right?
Because
Because
people are stupid now. Like, unfortunately, like people, like they don't have respect. They don't understand. They think it doesn't apply to them because it doesn't apply to them. Like you said, everything just gets worse. Like,
exactly.
it,
All right, we got to move on to the next segment because we spent way too long on this first one, but it's the first time I've been back in a month. All right, so I wanted to jump in and have some fun. All right, this is for ABC News. Senate advances war powers resolution to rein in Trump on Venezuela. Now, you know me, I always want to look at the headline first and break that down. All right, so Senate advances war powers resolution. So what that means, and Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, when you're talking about war powers, that means at war, not necessarily looking for war. Soft take? Okay. I'll take that. Solid take. Okay. So there's a lot of gray areas right now when it comes to immigration, when it comes to Venezuela, when it comes to the war with Russia and Ukraine and with China. There's a lot of gray areas right now because you have to remember a lot of us have been left in the dark about a lot of things that have been happening across the world that the United States was involved in that we didn't have any information on or we had limited information on.
streaming. Like
Right.
all the stuff going on in North Africa. Like the majority
Yeah,
of
oh,
80% of the
especially
special
that.
forces have been in North Africa for the past like 15 years, 20 years.
Yeah, we didn't know that. And that's not even through just Trump's 2 terms. That was also through Obama and through Biden. So they all knew this. Every single one of them. And the thing is like, but I get it. I get why in certain scenarios why you have to do that without telling anyone, because look at what happened with Venezuela, right? And when they went in with Maduro, they went in. I mean, it was probably one of the smoothest operations that ever happened that
That's the
we've
most gangster.
ever done. It was, I, whether you like it or hate it, it was the smooth because it happened in the middle of the night and the whole world didn't know for 8 hours.
Yeah, I was watching I was watching one of my streamer. I was on one of my buddies. He games, and I was like watching a streamer. And he's like, someone put it in the chat, on the live feed. We're reading it. And he's like, oh yeah, it's like they did something to Venezuela. I'm like, oh yeah, no, it's happened like 2 days ago. And then he's like, no, like it's right now. And it's like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I tell him like, dude, this is like fucking Call of Duty kill streaks going on. And you just see like all around. He's like,
Tactical nuke ready for deployment. No,
yeah.
no, it was crazy because I think I was on vacation when this happened. And I didn't know about it until I woke up in the morning, but I started hearing some rumblings about it. They're like, something's going on in Venezuela, but they didn't know. And then it was only when I woke up when they were like, oh, he's gone. Like he's out of there. Like they have no president anymore. I just, if there's one thing we learn about this is all the rest of the world leaders need to take notice.
That we fuck.
All the other world leaders definitely need to take notice. All right, so it looks like Brian's got a video here, so let's go ahead and see what we got.
Yeah, good morning, Robin. Maduro may be gone, but his regime lives on, doing its best to tighten its control of the government. We're hearing multiple reports of armed militia in the streets, stifling dissent, intimidating the public. These are the colectivos, the unofficial secret police, and they are everywhere in Caracas. They've set up checkpoints, stopping people, stopping cars, searching them for anything that might be incriminating. They're taking people's phones.
Wow. Now, is that the government or is that some gangbangers just trying to?
Narcos. I guess it's one and the same. I mean, we can only.
Yeah, you know what's funny is that actually proves that we were right. Because if he was gone and a day later they were already out on the streets, that they had to have some information. You know how long it takes to even get our own National Guard out and about? That's like for us, we have, trillions of dollars at our disposal. They don't.
Really don't, but I'm sure they still have like a fallback, like a contingency plan.
They do, but to be able to
They knew this was going to happen, so they would, being in the government, it would be in their, it'd be in their best interest to have a contingency plan if this happened.
Well, they knew the United States was going to take some action. They didn't know they were going to fucking yoink and yeet their president.
Like 14,000 soldiers, like half a mile, 1 mile, 2 miles, like right off the coast, like super carriers and stuff. So they knew stuff was happening, but not this.
Yeah. So it says here, in a rare rebuke to Trump's administration, the Senate on Thursday advanced a war powers resolution that would block the president's use of U.S. armed forces to engage in hostilities within or against Venezuela unless authorized by Congress. So just Venezuela? Or
doesn't matter.
Yeah, right. A small group of Senate Republicans joined with all Democrats, narrowly advancing the resolution with a vote of 52 to 47. It needed 51 votes to move forward. The legislation, if ultimately approved by the Senate, would still need to be approved by the House and signed by the president, which that's not going to happen. The bill did not pass the Senate with a veto-proof majority. And what was that? Oh, yeah. Sorry, Brian's giving me some notes here. He said fat chance on a veto. Yeah, that's the bill did not pass the Senate with a veto-proof majority. It's unlikely that Trump would sign it into law. In order to override a presidential veto, Congress would need the support of 2/3 of the House and the Senate. That's definitely not going to happen. Republican Senator Rand Paul and Lisa Murkowski, Todd Young, Susan Collins, and Josh Haley voted with all the Democrats. Really? Rand Paul and Josh Hawley?
That doesn't surprise me, though.
Hawley definitely surprises me.
Rand, no.
I wonder if, I don't know, because Josh Hawley, I would love to have him on the show, by the way. I would love to have him here because I would like to pick his brain about a couple of things that he's voted on. But yeah, Democrat Senate. Let's see. Tim Kaine, member of the Senate Armed Service Committee, pushed for resolution, received a vote immediately after President Donald Trump announced U.S. forces carried a large-scale attack in Venezuela, capturing dictator Nicolas Maduro and his wife, who are facing federal charges including narco-terrorism, conspiracy to import cocaine. Both Maduro and his wife entered not guilty pleas earlier this week. I don't know. I don't know what types of operations that were coming out of Venezuela, nor do I know if the government was involved with those operations, which I'm pretty sure there's some truth to that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely clear that a lot of the fentanyl and stuff that's not being produced in Venezuela is being produced somewhere else and then sent to Venezuela to be sent here. You probably know where I'm going with this, but go ahead. I'm gonna let you shoot.
No, I was gonna let you. I'm thinking of like 7 different things, so I couldn't even think of it.
Well, what country in this world is sending a lot of fentanyl everywhere?
China.
Exactly. So, but it's not just that, but also oil reserves. Like they have what, 17% of the world's oil reserves? Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. And the thing is that what is the biggest issue over in Europe right now?
The sand people.
Views.
No.
No. No, but so a lot of the thing is that it's BRICS, all right? It's not necessarily just Russia or China, it's BRICS, right? And they're trying to find a workaround, all right, when it comes to like oil and stuff like that. And you have to remember that the, Russia and them coming over here is like us technically going to Ukraine and doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
See,
So
that's
I'm gonna call a spade a spade.
no, I see. I can see that. You know, and then they're here also like a big thing. Someone I don't know if it was on the show on Tuesday or if it was I was speaking to someone else, but I didn't even really think about it. But someone mentioned it, and another reason that they're coming here, you know, whether it be the Russians or Chinese, it's they're using it as a warm water port because of like all the water would freeze and stuff.
Right, right. Yeah, but we all know the answer to that question. Like it's they're here for resources.
Yeah.
Right. They're not going to get it through Ukraine. They're not going to get it in Taiwan. They're not going to like they're clearly going after those for a reason, right? And what they need is they need the oil reserves to go ahead and fight those wars.
But it's just wild that they would do come all the way here to go all the way there.
Well, that's because nobody was stopping it, and I'm pretty sure this has been going on for a decade.
Well, I know it has. I mean, it's been going on as like I'm 36. It's been going on as long as I've been alive. My uncle, he owns a port out in Venezuela, and he does like shipping, like international shipping and stuff. You know, he actually got deported from the United States for like embezzling and stuff like that. So
yeah,
in Venezuela for the rest of his life.
Exactly. But to finish this off, it's when you start doing deals like that, when you go into Venezuela and say, "Hey, we're going to build your roads, we're going to build a bunch of high rises, we're going to go on the beach, and we're going to make it a destination for you. But all we need is your oil, and we need to plant missiles in certain areas in your country, point it in a specific direction."
Yeah.
And that's the deal, right? Does that sound familiar? Like the crazy 60s? I brought it back to the circle.
Yeah. So it's
Missile crisis.
yeah. So I'm just worried, like, why would they do that? If it seems like such a shot in the foot. Like you're literally shooting themselves in the foot by not allowing or just withdrawing it. Because they're gonna need some kind of military effect from us. Because their entire military is their entire government's corrupt.
You don't know why, and part of this is the reason why they switched the name to Gulf of America, because it's not because we have most of America that's along that coast.
It's because we are America.
Who is protecting the entire Gulf? We are. We are. There are a bunch of countries inside the Gulf and in the Caribbean that they just happen to be lucky by location and circumstance that they're by us. Right?
Yeah.
So if we're the ones that are protecting this area, then we get to make the rules on this area. Because guess who's paying for that? It's not the Venezuelans. It's not the Mexican. Well, maybe some of the Mexicans. But as far as all the smaller countries that can't defend themselves, who is paying for that? We are. Me, you, the taxpayer. We are paying for that. Right? So you have to keep in mind that having Russia and China just waltz their way in with no kind of checks and balances on that is a big deal. I'm not saying it's a problem, but it's a big deal. Because you don't know what's going on over there. Right?
No, and it's right here. So it's right here.
Exactly. All right. I think Brian is you probably went to take a leak. We're going to move on to the next CBS News. So internet service in Iran, that was the other country that I wanted to talk about today. Internet service in Iran cut off or restricted as deadly protests reach a possible tipping point. Iran decided they wanted to be in the news today because everybody else was taking up their
Me too, me too, me too.
What about me? What about me? No, I'm just kidding. Iranian authorities appeared to be cutting off internet access Thursday in the capital and some other regions of the country as mass protests and chanting against the government continue. Multiple sources in Tehran told CBS News that the internet was down in the capital. The NetBlocks monitoring organization said about 8:30 local time that Iran and its live data show #Iran is now in the midst of a nationwide internet blackout. The incident follows a series of escalating digital censorship measures targeting protests across the country and hinders the public's right to communicate at a critical moment. Now, let me take this back again full circle. At least here we have video of what happened in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
So at minimum, we can at least make our own judgment calls based off of what we saw. But if your government is shutting down the internet so that we can't see what's going on the inside, that's never a good thing.
No,
Never in the history of the internet. Go ahead.
Complete blackout. That's a media blackout. They're doing that so that way they're keeping all their citizens, so they're not able to talk at rapid speed amongst themselves to plan. If they need to do something, if their government, because nothing for nothing, but their government sucks. They treat their people like dog shit. And if they want to do something, their citizens can't warn each other, and their government can just come sweep them up, take them away, and no one will know until 3 days from now. Other than their immediate friends and family live with them, or across the street. But it's like.
And then the internet comes back up and it's like, haha, nothing to see here. We get it. Any kind of censorship is going to be bad censorship. And this should be a lesson to the United States as to why you don't do that. Because imagine what happened in Minneapolis. They were just taking down that video. What if the Trump administration decided, you know what? We're just going to take down any semblance of this video anywhere. How would that look on the Trump administration?
Well, if people found out, that would look horrible. But if you don't know, you don't know.
Exactly. That's my point. So if they're shutting down the internet over there, it's clearly not just because they don't want their own citizens to communicate with each other. It's because they don't want you to see what their next move is.
Yeah.
But there's people here. I mean, people have VPNs. People have satellites. They have ways of getting information out. And I think that's the one thing that this world, or at least the world leaders, were not ready for, is the speed in which information travels.
If we were us now, but in 1992, 1993, we would be flabbergasted at just how fast we would be able to get just media out there. It'd be insane.
Yeah, exactly. Arab Spring was fueled by Twitter.Iran. Oh wait, no. Fueled by Twitter. Iran is trying to prevent that. I guess so. But now the entire world is looking for information, and this gives perfect opportunity for the people to bring out false information. So anything that comes out right now, I would take it with the smallest grain of salt.
1 grain of salt.
Half of one.
Half of it.
split by a diamond cutter. No, but yeah, once you hit that red button, then that's it. Now nobody's going to believe anything that comes out of there.
And I'm really curious to see, what's going to be what has been done, what is happening, and then, how much are they going to Gestapo it, just silence everybody.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on to CBS 17. Wow, we got a little theme here with CBS. I like this. All right, so this looks like a climate. Really, Brian? You went with climate this time? He's like, I don't know.
Yay, weather.
I'm messing with you, man. So a new study reveals 2025 is one of the costliest weather disaster years on record. All right, so we got here. Raleigh, North Carolina, a newly released report from Climate Central shows 2025 was the top of the 10 costliest years on record for weather and climate disasters. Last year saw 23 individual events meeting the billion-dollar price tag criteria, totaling 115 billion in combined damage and leading to 276 deaths across the United States. The first such disaster of the year was the Los Angeles wildfires. Yeah, we talked about that a lot. In January, ultimately becoming the costliest wildfire in history. In the months following, severe weather accounted for 91% of all billion-dollar disasters in 2025, with widespread drought leading to the final one of the year. So, here, I'll finish this up and then we'll talk about it. Since data began in 1980, the United States has sustained 426 separate billion-dollar disasters with total costs exceeding $3.1 trillion adjusted for inflation. That was the first question I was going to have, was about inflation, because each year the dollar cost is different. And also there's a lot more things that are built in certain areas. So when you're talking about the costs going up, a lot of that is not necessarily that the storms or the disasters are getting bigger. It's just that we have more shit.
The infrastructure becomes more expensive.
Exactly. So if you add inflation plus all of the infrastructure that's been built over that period of time, then of course that's going to happen. Of course.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, this is going to be like just the layman's terms, speaking of infrastructure, but like a lot of highways have built-in Wi-Fi and antenna repeaters on them. Like most of the interstate throughout the country has like repeaters, so everyone has reception. That's one thing. 40 years ago that didn't exist because there's no reason for it, so it was just lampposts. But now this is cost billions of extra dollars on top of that.
Yeah, take a look at this. The frequency of these disasters have increased dramatically since 1980 due to a rise in extreme weather and a growing number of people, homes, businesses in harm's way. So this was half right, because when it comes to extreme weather, like really extreme weather, yeah, of course, but we also had the issue with the California wildfires that was started by one person. That's not really an extreme disaster. That is arson, right?
Yeah. I mean, weather's going to change either way. There's no constant to it. And kind of touching point on like the last subject we were speaking on, as far as how easy access instant information is. We're able to see that, like all this stuff now, as far as the weather. Everyone has a cell phone. Everyone has internet. We can track it. We can do everything like autonomously. That's why for tracking. Back in 1980, no, not really.
Dougie Fresh says lack of competent people heading relief doesn't help either. Yeah, I've got 3 episodes on the history of FEMA, by the way, for Roman Nation. You should probably go back on Rumble or YouTube and check those out, because we talked about a lot of these during that period. Roman Nation's been up in the front of a lot of these conversations before this even happened, right? So
before it was cool.
Before it was cool, yeah, because we weren't cool back then, but we're cool now. Damn it!
I'm cool now. It's what you me.
But yeah, but again, like, natural disasters are going to happen whether we're here or not, right? George Carlin said it best. It's not the earth that's effed. We're effed.
Yeah, they're just going to do it. And then even look at this, like, we got the infrastructure. That gets more expensive. But it's just the rapid growth of it. If there was a forest there somewhere, that could be a whole entire city now.
Yeah, exactly. But like, again, the earth doesn't stay the same. All right. Throughout time, the earth's weather patterns and like the different types of disasters that are created by natural phenomenons always change. We can't predict when earthquakes are going to happen. You can't predict when tornadoes are going to happen. You can in the near sense, but not. I can't predict a tornado next year. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
Right.
You can predict like El Nino and El Nino. Like, but that's not even totally predictable. That's just, you go by like historical traits like every 4 years. And then like this last time it was 7. So 7 years without a change, the fauna changes, the geography changes because of the fauna. And then,
exactly. Yeah, because Ian Malcolm said it best. A butterfly flaps its wings in Central Park, and then instead you get rain instead of sunshine. But that's a reference that most people would get. You probably wouldn't, but that's a Jurassic Park reference, by the way.
Shit, I haven't seen it. I was literally talking about that today. I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Yeah, but you can't predict it because there's so many different phenomena that happen over the course of time that make that happen, right? So when you have wildfires, that sets a trend for something else in the future. When you have a hurricane that hits a certain area, that sets a trend for something in the future. We just don't know what those trends are. We can't predict those trends because the earth is massive. And what happens here creates a situation somewhere else. It just depends on certain
chaos theory. It's a butterfly effect. It's chaos theory.
Right. So let's go on to our last article before we get into the fun stuff. But before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching, please go to riseofmiddleamerica.com and check up our lineup of podcasts. We also have a merch shop that's down there at the bottom. You can check that out. We got some fun stuff coming up soon. So they're with us there. All right. USA Today, old food pyramid versus RFK Jr.'s new food pyramid. See what's different. I really want to see. I just want to see
Have you seen it?
A graph of what it is. But here, let's read this first, and then we'll get into it. All right. The USDA's 2026 dietary guidelines announced by HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. placed the My Plate graphic with an upside-down food pyramid that puts protein, dairy, healthy fats, fruits, and vegetables at the top and grains at the bottom. The plan raises protein intake to 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight. Recommendations: 3 servings of full-fat dairy daily, cap saturated fat at 10% of calories, and urges limits on added sugar and alcohol. Don't tell me what to do, RFK. Sorry.
Say alcohol's bad. Get him out. Impeach him.
Yeah, right. The Department of Agriculture has released a new set of dietary guidelines and includes a food pyramid that looks very different from the one that you probably remember, championing protein and healthy fats while minimizing grains. The new nutrition recommendations announced January 7th are a departure from the past government's guidance. In fact, the accompanying food pyramid visual is a near complete inverse of what it once was, both visually and in terms of content. In a White House news briefing, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that the announcement aligned with President Donald Trump and Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s promises to make America healthy again. Now, I don't care what you think about RFK Jr., but he is in fantastic shape for 70 years old.
I'm 36 and like I look like a potato with toothpicks. This dude is jacked and ripped. Like he is in insane shape. He looks like an action figure.
He's eating 225 on the press for breakfast. Like at 70.
That's nuts.
That's insane. Right. So he's going to know something. Now, I don't want to sit here and make a comparison to the last HSS. You know what? Let's just stay away from that. Whatever. People have
talk about that.
Yeah. People have their ways. We're just going to leave it at that. So here is a look at the this is Eat Real Food Pyramid. Protein, dairy, healthy fats. So it looks like we got some steaks here, some chicken. This is what I did to lose 30 pounds, by the way. This was before this even came out.
This is my normal diet.
I took out most of my bread intake, almost all of my sugar intake, and replace that with the natural fats, right? So sour cream, things like that, and mix them into my foods, into my diets as I go throughout the day. Now, I have a job in which I do a lot of walking on stairs, right? So I have to I have to have some carbs, right? I need to have something there to replace certain calories.
Yeah, some substance, so you have energy, of course.
Yeah, to have some kind of energy, right? But I've cut my carbs in like 2/3 almost.
Oh, yeah.
And I've replaced that with natural fats and protein. So I eat a lot more protein now than I did before. And I tell you what, my inflammation has gone down. My gut, like my gut used to be like out to here.
Yeah, you had a distended belly for a little bit. Not that
I
you're like ever out of shape. You've always been in shape as long as
Not
I've.
anymore, man, dude. This thing is flat. Like, and
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of that was just change of habits. I don't drink as much anymore. I mean, of course, tonight, like I'm having some fun, but I got a long night tonight.
Yeah,
But but um
gotta
but yeah,
relax.
so I cut back on drinking, I cut back on sugars, I cut back on too much grains. If I decided I wanted to have a burger, I had a burger and a lettuce wrap or whatnot, which is a little bit more messy. Yeah, it's a little inconvenient, but if you're looking to get healthy, you're going to buy it anyway, so you might as well just do it and figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, homemade burgers are still. I make homemade burgers like 3 times a week. They're fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. I buy a ribeye every single week. I cut my own potatoes. I make um Irish chips
Yeah.
with vinegar and salt, and then I top it off with asparagus, which is
Oh,
very
wow,
easy to make, by the way. You boil the water and then you throw the asparagus in for 5 minutes, and then you just turn it off and let it sit for another five, and boom, it's done.
that's fantastic. Yeah, no, like all I'll do is like I just have a high metabolism. Like I don't have like a job that requires like physical work like yours. Mine's just all brain work. But I have a high metabolism, so what I'll make like spicy meat sauce. Like I'll use like ghost chili pepper.
Yep.
I make like 2 pounds of meat sauce and then put it with some pasta and
And
set
you're
it
good to
up,
go.
cook it in the iron top, and have it for my week.
Yeah, it's really not that hard, especially nowadays with the type of cooking things that we have. Stoves have gotten much better. Um, the understanding of how your body reacts to certain things have gotten better.
Yeah,
And it's definitely changed my life. Because last year I was in a really bad spot. I mean, you remember I was 40 pounds overweight. I was having heart issues, and it was just like, how do I turn this around?
well,
Right.
you took that step back, and you were able to do it.
I did.
Keto, like you're saying, like keto is low carb. It is. Like for me, I have to have the carbs, but I normally will just my intake is just meats and veggies. But the fact like you took it back. I remember we even had a sit down. Like, dude, like I'm noticing, my wife's noticing it. Like just like normal things. Like you were worried about it. So it's good that you did it, and you're just keeping that. The next amount of months you're able to see a huge thing. So hopefully this will stick to it, and this isn't just like, oh, look what our kid did, because there's a lot of people are like arf tards about that.
Exactly.
Guy is a healthy man, and I think if people take this to heart, you're going to see a lot of people just like you who will just naturally do this, and they'll just naturally become healthier, lose weight, have better blood pressure, and things like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right.
I burned a calorie once.
Once. You can burn a lot of calories in intellectual work. The brain can burn calories as well. So is comedy, which is in our next segment. Caption this. I was like,
That was funny. It's like, see, wait, this is the one that we already did.
we already did this one.
You wanted it.
Oh, that's right. We never had a winner on this one.
Well, no one had anything on it.
Oh, geez. All right. Now I gotta come up with a new one because the one I had I wasted. Let me see. Let's do. So, folks, if this is your first time watching the show, this is Caption This. So, what we do is we have a AI image dump inside of our Discord, and anybody that's in my Discord can drop in an AI image. And what we do is every single day we go and we choose the best AI image and we bring it up for the show on Sunset Rants. And then it's up to you guys in the audience to come up with the best caption for this image. Who knows? Maybe you'll win a prize. Maybe we'll put this on a shirt with your caption.
Hell yeah.
For a good cause. So let's go ahead and get into it. Here, I'm gonna put the one I did updated from the other day.
What we got? So we got Mary's edition for the Mona Lisa.
Mary's audition for the Mona Lisa. Jeez. That's hilarious. Here's mine. Single Gen C mom of 3, circa 1612, before her hanging for witchcraft.
Yeah, we were talking about that. We were quoting Monty Python. I was like, if she's a witch, she'll float. But if she's not, she'll sink.
The seconds before the only woman in the world smiled.
I haven't gotten anyone for this one.
Oh, this is hilarious. What do we got? We got about a minute left. So we got 60 seconds, folks. So if you guys are on if you're on X, go up to my head where my profile picture is, click on that. You should be able to jump right in, and on the bottom right hand corner, you should be able to put in your text. Baroque social justice warrior. What in the world? The great grandmother of Lily Phillips.
Hell yeah.
It's all in the family, right?
If people who don't know Lily Phillips is, don't Google it around your someone you care about.
Yeah. Hide your kids, hide your wives.
Yeah, definitely. Jesus.
Oh man. All right. Well, it looks like time is. All right. So, I mean, Baroque social justice warrior. I don't know, Brian. That one was pretty funny too.
I do like that one. But let's see, the great. Let's see. I like the Lily Phillips one because that one just made me smile.
Did it? All right. Audition for the Mona. Let's see. Mary's audition for the Mona Lisa. San Francisco. Yeah. You know what? I'll take it.
Hell yeah.
Let's go. All right. Well, I want it. Yes, single. Gen C mom of 3, circa 1612, before her hanging for witchcraft. I couldn't figure out something from 1612 that I could think that would be relevant today. So
I do like that one.
that was the best thing I could come up with. All right. Well, looks like I'm the winner. That's definitely not going on a shirt because I don't think it's that funny. But what is this? It says which one does not identify as. Oh, Jesus. Anyways, we're gonna skip that.
Yeah.
But once again, ladies and gentlemen, please go to risemiddleamerica.com. Check out our lineup of podcasts. Upper right-hand corner is our socials. Down at the bottom is our merch site and also a PayPal link. You can send a monetary contribution so we can keep the lights on. Make sure you follow me on X at the real Roma, the real Roma. I can speak now. The real Roma _ AK. That is AP Tute on X. It was a pleasure. I guess I'm going to see you next Thursday too because this is our show.
Oh, we're doing Thursdays now officially?
Sir.
Oh yeah, I'm stoked. I like that. What a splendid way to start the year. I like this news.
Absolutely. Yeah. So thank you guys for joining us tonight and stick around because in about 30 minutes, it's Roma Sports. Thank you for joining us. Peace.
So I got to thinking, there's MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. MAGA, Make America Great Again. But what we really need to do is make America follow the Constitution again. Motherfucker. That sounded better in my head.